we're going to be reviewing the Camco fire pit that I bought to use in honey. I'm going to link a video right up here that shows how we added an adapter to the built-in propane tank in honey so that I could connect this fire pit to the built-in tank. When it came time to hook the fire pit up to honey, we were missing a part. We needed another adapter to adapt the hose from the fire pit to the adapter that we put on honey. We now have the adapter that we need and everything is set to go. So let's go and check out this fire pit. This is the end of the hose that came with the fire pit. You can see this part here is the part that is supposed to attach to a 20-pound propane tank. It doesn't attach to the adapter that we put into honey's built-in tank. So we needed to get something that would fit in here, and I wasn't really sure if such a thing existed. I'm not a gas fitter, so I don't really know the correct terms or names for parts. I didn't really know what I was looking for or if the part actually existed. After a lot of research, I was able to find that this was the part that I needed. It's just a little piece that screws into this part, like so. It takes the place of the connection that would be to a 20-pound tank and changes it into a connection to a 1-pound tank, which is what we needed to connect this to that. So this part here connects to a 1-pound disposable propane tank, the little green stubby ones that you would get for your Mr. Buddy heater or maybe a camp stove. It's a 20-pound to 1-pound propane adapter. So after figuring out that what I needed actually existed, I was able to look in the store to see if I could find one. Most of the places that I looked didn't have them. I don't think they're that common. I don't really know. I was able to find one in a store called North 40, which we don't have here in Canada, but we just happened to be making a trip down to my sister's place in Tacoma and stopped at one, and I found the part that I needed. Well, I looked at the price and it was $45 US, which is a lot more in Canadian, at least 60. And I thought that's a little crazy. So because of this wonderful contraption that we have that we carry around in our pockets called our phones, I was able to stand in front of it at the store and Google it on Amazon to see how much they wanted. Well, because we were in the States, I was able to get it delivered to my sister's place for $8.45. Yes, that is why I shop on Amazon. Now I have the part, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this adapter and attach it to the other adapter that we put into honey's built-in propane system. I'll show you how I'm going to do that. So here is honey's built-in tank. This part here is the part that we installed to be able to hook up an external barbecue or fire pit to the internal tank. Now this part here is the part that we are going to connect this part to. So I'm going to unscrew the little cap, and it has a little plastic tab to keep you from losing the cap. And I'm going to take this part here, and I'm taking this end that has a little knobby thing up here, and that goes in there. And you just screw that in. You want to make sure it's nice and tight. Then you take the end from the fire pit and you screw that into here. Now with this fire pit's hose, the regulator is on this end of the hose. Other ones I've seen, the regulator is on the side of the fire pit, which I'm not sure how this is going to work having it on this end, but we'll see. So I'm going to screw this end on here and make sure it's tight. Then I can turn the propane on in honey. So I've turned the propane on. I don't smell any propane, so I think we're good. And I'm going to go and light the fire pit. So I've got the propane fire pit all set up. I've dumped the rocks in. I've connected the other end of the hose to the fire pit. And I think it's ready to go. So what I've got to do, and what I'm not liking about this particular model, is that the regulator is not on this end of the hose. So I have to go back over to honey and I have to turn the regulator on there, and then I have to come back here and light it, which if there was two of you, that probably wouldn't be a big deal, but because there's just me and the dogs don't know how to use a lighter, I have to do this myself, which is a little bit scary when you're dealing with propane. But we're going to try it out, and hopefully we won't blow up. So let's do this. Woo. So I just turned the regulator on a little bit so there wouldn't be too much propane coming out at one time, and I got my lighter lit before I actually did that, so I could just come over here and it would light right away, and it did. It lit very quickly. We're just going to let it burn here for a little while and see how it goes. I don't know if you can see the flames coming out of the top or not with this light, but it's putting off some heat. And it's also making a hissing noise, which I'm not sure whether that is going to continue or if it's just warming up. I don't know. We'll wait and see. So I'm going to sit here and drink my coffee and check this thing out. So right now it is burning at the lowest level that I just turned the propane regulator on to light it. And I'm going to turn up the propane now to see what kind of flame production it has. So I'm turning it up. It's got a nice burn, but there is that hissing sound. So, how do I feel about this fire pit from Camco? Well, I'm not that impressed. I don't like the hissing noise that it makes. It's kind of unsettling. It's definitely not the snap, crackling, and popping that you would hear if you were sitting around a real campfire made with wood. But this is something that we can use as campers and RVers when there is a fire ban. It's safe to use when the forest is tinder dry. The other thing I don't like about it is that the regulator is on the propane tank side of the hose. To me, it just makes sense to put it next to the fire pit. Other ones that I have seen, as well as used, had the regulator right next to the fire pit. A lot of times they were built right onto the fire pit, so you just connected the hose to the regulator rather than to the fire pit itself. I feel that this is not a terribly safe way to have set up the regulator on this one, and because of that I will always be a little bit nervous lighting it, getting from the propane tank where I have to turn the propane on to the fire pit itself. You don't want to have your lighter not work or your match burn out, whatever, while you're trying to light it, because the propane is now accumulating around the fire pit. So I'm not terribly impressed with that part of it. I like the idea that it is smaller and that the legs fold up underneath. That's the part I really like. But I think I will be looking for one with the same kind of features as that, but I will be looking for something that has the regulator on the side of the fire pit. And I don't know about that hissing noise. Do they all make that noise? I don't think so. I know the ones that I've used and sat around in the past didn't make a hissing noise, so I'm not sure why this one does. I do remember seeing something in the comments on Amazon that somebody else had commented about the hissing. That's my review on this little Camco fire pit. I hope it was helpful to you.